Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Lesbian Talk. I'm the Omega, and I'm here with.
Dear Hagan, and that was our amazing theme music.
It was pretty amazing. I really do like that. I think I like more that someone actually took the time to do that. That's great.
Yeah, and he went off and he got someone else to do the guitar solo part and all, if I remember correctly. He put a lot of effort into it, and it sounds brilliant.
This is how you know you're an awesome person. But I have Giovanni here with me, and Kippers is sleeping on the couch now.
Aww.
He's so cute.
And
So how have you been?
I have been fine since the couple of minutes since we last talked, because here's a terrible thing for you to know, audience. This episode and the previous one were actually recorded back to back because I am going to be away on Saturday coming when we would record this, and a friend of mine is getting married, and I'm going to the wedding, and unfortunately I will not be here to record. So it was either get a co-host, or we record two back to back, or not have an episode at all.
So we decided to go for gold marathon.
Cabbage.
Exactly.
Yazabag.
So anyway, our word from last week, or last time, was popcorn. Yay, everyone loves popcorn.
Popcorn. Okay, let me start this. American cinema popcorn is fucking terrible. It is awful, it is terrible, it is disgusting. What the fuck is that sort of, thing that you call butter that you put onto it, which is one of the most evil things I have ever come across. I've come across bad cinema popcorn in the UK. Pretty much any big franchise one. But what the fuck? It's like, is Derry the only place in the world that does decent cinema popcorn? I hope
I
not.
usually don't get popcorn in the theater. Like I don't like the butter flavor, so I just will get regular popcorn and I'll make it, at work and eat it at my desk because popcorn is a whole grain actually. It's very good for you as long as it's not slathered with like that butter flavoring that actually gives you lung damage. I think you might be overreacting a wee bit there, dear. A wee bit.
No, absolutely not. Both cinemas in Derry do good popcorn, and I cannot think of a cinema I've been anywhere else that does decent popcorn.
Well, what about didn't you get popcorn when we went to see the Avengers? I can't remember if you did or not.
No, I don't think I got. If I did, it was very plain popcorn. The whenever I get popcorn, I prefer to get it sweet.
Oh, well, yeah, that's not really an option here usually, unless the place specifically has kettle corn. I like Cracker Jack kind of caramel covered popcorn. I love that. I could eat a lot of that. It's probably dangerous.
I could rant for ages and ages about American popcorn. When I was in Florida filming Project Million, we went to see Captain America the movie, which that was the one moment in that entire trip where you were glad that you were not there.
Yeah, because I'm not a big fan of his.
You would have had to seen Captain America just wander around being all, "Hi, I'm Captain America." But
I'm a big douchebag. How are you? God bless America, also Jesus and the Boy Scouts. Is my impersonation of Captain America, and I know I'm going to get hate mail from everyone in the world, but oh well.
But we went there, and it was one of these insane things that Americans have, where it's like, "Oh, I'm going to buy everything here," but then I got to go instead of actually people handing me the thing and giving it to me, I have to go around and then I have to pick it up and do it myself.
That's weird. I've never heard of that.
And rather than, we were really really rushed, so rather than just buy the ticket, go into the cinema, no, you've got to go through and then you got to talk to people and then you got to go around this sort of like obstacle course in order to get everything in order and everything. It was like it was designed to irritate me. But then you had like this plain popcorn which had been sitting there for weeks on end, and then they just poured. And then you poured a bunch of, what they call butter on it. I don't know what the fuck it was.
It's not really butter. It's some kind of polymer. I really dislike butter popcorn. Like, I dislike the instant kind because it's horrible, and I dislike the kind that you get at the movie theater because after 3 bites, you feel sick. I don't even know what it is, but it's horrible.
Well, I was so unimpressed that I ate about 6 pieces, and I spent the rest of the day irritated.
Yeah, didn't you say it made you sick?
It made me feel sick, yeah.
I remember Andrew telling me that you were sick.
It's and you also remember I was sick whenever I came to yours.
That's true, but that was more like exhaustion and several weeks of eating foreign food.
It's true. But yeah, American cinema popcorn is terrible, honey. It's awful. I'm gonna take you to the cinema over whenever you come to Derry, and it'll be better popcorn.
Is that a promise?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll buy my ticket now.
Well, whenever we know that you're over, and
I know.
we'll have Aaron there too, so that we can do a vlog afterwards. It'll be very romantic.
Aw, and it'll be like, stop being lesbians in my car. Although I don't know why he would say that, but I think that he should.
You can say that. He goes, lesbians, I don't like you and your talk.
Dun dun dun. I don't know if Aaron listens to our show. Probably not.
I don't know. He can get the same effect of listening to the show just by talking to me.
Yeah, so it's not really special.
You know,
It's like Kyle's Kickstarter. One of the goals was, or one of the levels was, that you would get a personal phone call for him, and that was the only difference between that and the level below it. So I took the level below it because I could literally, if I wanted to, I could talk to Kyle anytime. But so for those people, he's been tweeting out at them like, "Oh, thanks for your contribution, and you'll be getting a phone call from me shortly." But it sounds really ominous the way he says it, like you'll be getting a phone call from me shortly. Like, wait till your father gets home.
dun
I don't know
dun
if he's intending.
dun.
I will be calling you shortly. Pray I do not call you anymore. I don't know. But popcorn, right? Actually, I could make popcorn tonight if I wanted to because I have that popcorn maker I got for Christmas and the thing, and I have organic kernels from a market, like a roadside market my mom and I went to.
Yeah, the popcorn. The Omega's family did this sort of potluck type thing with presents, and I got the popcorn maker, and unfortunately, there's no way that I could A, take it back with me, and B, the plug wouldn't work over here, so I swapped with Omega, and I got a Doctor Who t-shirt, so she has the
I was
popcorn maker
thinking,
now.
even though I have a shirt very like that, I should have switched with Kevin and given him the mug because then I would have had a T-shirt and I would have gotten to keep the popcorn maker anyway. Oh well,
The road not traveled.
I know. Well, I already have a TARDIS T-shirt anyway, so.
The to say you can get some absolutely fascinating videos on YouTube of slow motion things like the slow mo guys, and one of their videos is popcorn popping at various speeds, and
It's so cool.
it's fascinating.
I want a high-speed camera so I can record shit like that. What else about popcorn? Well, I like popcorn, but I like it very much. In fact, now I really want some now. I should make some. But I know people who don't like popcorn. I guess it's just one of those things.
Well, my usual, I have a sort of a traditional meal that I get, well, snacks I get whenever I go to the cinema in Derry, which I believe I've got every single time I've gone and done a vlog, and before it, which is a medium sweet popcorn, a large lime slushy, and if I
Nice.
feel like it, some cookie dough ice cream.
Not a lot of our places offer ice cream. Some do. Some will do like the hot dogs and the pretzel bites and nachos and everything like that. I think one of the reasons why I didn't get popcorn a lot at the theater was because popcorn was something we could make at home, but we didn't often get candy when I was little. So it was a better thing to, if you're at the movies, to get candy, which was a more restricted sweet than popcorn.
Hmm.
Although Target, their Archer Farms brand, they used to have all these really great popcorn salts, like salt and vinegar and buffalo chicken and ranch. Now they don't make them anymore, and I'm sad.
The Arnicarian, he likes to get a massive thing of nachos with two things of, well, they call it nacho cheese, but it's just actually just the squirty American cheese, that sort of one.
Cheese Whiz?
Ish, yeah. I keep away from it. And
Yeah, it's good because it's made of polymers. It's a
and,
petroleum product, probably.
and Cypher, he was all like, "Oh, I gotta try something new," and he was all like, "Holy shit, this is really hilarious to me because this isn't funny to you guys, but in America, Cadbury's is all fancy and stuff, and here it is just being really just all
It really
over
is awful, too.
Just, it's really funny to see it just, being sold as a cinema confectionery.
Well, we only have Cadbury Cream Egg like a certain percentage of the year. That's like near Easter. And then this year they started with the Halloween ones, which is kind of
Oh,
cool. But having Cadbury stuff year round, that's like amazing.
Cypher had never had a Cadbury's cream egg, so
Really?
whenever I discovered this whenever we were in like a garage, a gas station, and I was picking up some stuff, and one of the things I picked up, I was picking up some stuff, to make him try, the Monster Munch that you hated, the Monster Munch you
Yeah.
liked,
What did Cypher think of the evil, horrible Monster Munch?
didn't like,
Because it's nasty.
and,
See?
and I ate it, and but he tried. I picked up a Cadbury's cream egg twist, which is like it's a chocolate bar with Cadbury's cream egg. It made out of Cadbury's cream egg bits. It's like a long
Yeah,
thing,
I think
all
I think you
filled.
brought me one like last year or something like that.
Okay, well,
'Cause I
audience,
remember trying that.
imagine a chocolate bar that's full of Cadbury's cream egg goodness.
It's
So,
amazing.
and Cypher tried one and described it as the most sweet thing that he'd ever had before, and
It's very sweet.
looked like he was about to choke. And later on, he sat down, and unfortunately, he sat against a table thing that was being used to hold stuff up.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, the vibrations of him hitting against it and hitting the floor, because floors vibrate and shit.
Mm.
It knocked over the thing that was on top of the table, which landed on his head, and it was a full bottle of a soft drink. So slight hurt there.
What? Jesus.
But the story becomes much funnier. He burst out laughing a couple of moments later when I pointed out the thing that had nearly killed him was a bottle of a soft drink called Club.
That is kind of funny, actually.
And
I mean,
right,
good stuff is okay, but
right beside it, nearly fell, was a bottle that was actually 3 times bigger. It's like over 2 liters, heavy.
hmm.
For an even funnier one called Smack.
Oh.
Unfortunately, that one being so heavy, it probably would have killed him.
Well, we used to have a energy drink called Cocaine, and it was taken off the market and rebranded as something else.
Oh.
Well, the thing about it, because I heard it was gonna be taken off the market, so I went and bought some. I bought like a few cans actually. Is that its color was like literally neon pink, like it actually fluoresced. I don't know how they got that to happen, but it was amazing, and it tasted like pink sugar, and it really was a very powerful energy drink.
You loved it.
I did actually. But it was called cocaine. I'm sure you can find a screenshot of it on the internet somewhere. But for a while, that was a thing in America. Although now they're saying that energy drinks are horrible for you and will kill you instantly, so can't really drink them anymore.
But but now,
But popcorn.
yeah, we should probably talk about popcorn or move on to something else.
Well, I guess we should talk about a movie that we saw recently. And what movie would that be?
Oh, this is a movie called FDR American Badass,
Badass.
which I did a Nana view for. So if you want any more details after you finish listening to this, check out my Nana view for it.
Check it out.
It was one of the movies I was like, whenever I go to Omegas, I look at my list of things that I want to buy, and I just, I see which ones are cheapest to buy in America, buy them, and, send to our house, and I bring them back with me. So,
Because I have Amazon Prime.
yeah, so FDR American Badass was the only film possibly ever that, you saw that I bought, and you looked at the trailer and went, holy shit, I must see that.
It was really good. I thought it was very funny. You not so much.
Yeah, it's, I'm a little bit ambivalent about it. I definitely liked elements to it. I didn't like other elements to it. It's okay. Basically, it's a really ridiculous, over-the-top, vulgar comedy where FDR has been bitten by a werewolf and that gave him polio. But then the Nazis and Japanese and Italians are all werewolves, and FDR needs to storm the beaches of Normandy and kill them all himself because that happens.
Just like it happened in real life.
Indeed.
It was a lot better than the last movie that I watched with you, which was Where the Dead Go to Die, which I will probably never forgive you for.
Yeah, Where the Dead Go to Die was a nasty film.
I had a dream about that dog a few nights ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. But what I liked about FDR American Badass, it was kind of like a really long Saturday Night Live sketch, is what it reminded me of.
That's a good description.
I know you didn't find it as funny as I did.
Well, the
Like, it's not American.
well the well, when I got back from from America, I checked out a copy of the same team's film they did beforehand, which is called Pool Boy Drowning Out the Fury. And honestly, it's a very similar sort of film, but I think it worked better because Pool Boy was they set out to show that the sort of ridiculous stuff that they're showing, this is meant to be like a parody of the worst movie ever. And while FDR American Badass in some ways looks like the sort of movie they were parodying in Pool Boy.
Okay, I think I understand.
So I think on a meta level, Pool Boy works better because apart from everything else, you got low budget. Pool Boy in the fictional universe setup is supposed to have a low budget. It's while FDR is the same tropes played completely straight.
Well, sometimes that can work. I have this theory about sketch comedy that the important thing is the placement of the slant. And the slant is the line between normalcy and the absurd. And sometimes it can work good when both of you have a straight situation, but both of your characters are beyond the slant. Fry and Laurie are a good their sketch show, but Fry and Laurie is a good example of this, where you could have two straight men in an absurd situation and it'd be funny. You can have one straight and one absurd, or two absurd in a straight situation. And if written correctly, all three options are really 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 funny. It's just making the slant just right. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, well, my preference, as I mentioned, the Nana view is that comedy, I prefer if you're going to have a ridiculous comedy that the performances should be deadly serious because I think ridiculous on top of ridiculous on top of ridiculous is very rarely funny.
So the straight men in the absurd situation.
That's my preference. Yeah, it's much better than absurd people in an absurd situation because if you have absurd.
Well, that it doesn't work. You have to have some kind of combination. Otherwise, the only time that works actually is sometimes the Monty Python 30-second bits between sketches, and that's exactly as long as something that needs to last.
Well, it's one thing I noticed in FDR American Badass. I would characterize it as mostly absurd and absurd, and that was one of the things I didn't like about it. It's not entirely, definitely not entirely, but the stuff I didn't like is because it felt like that to me.
Okay, well, I can see that.
Like the example of the one that I prefer, the straight in an absurd situation that is like Airplane. But my feeling is that comedy needs some level of seriousness to it, whether it's in performance, whether it's in story, whether it's in dialogue, something, whether it's in like direction and music,
Because that gives you a baseline for what isn't funny.
Yeah, it's if everything is silly, you get Kung Pao Enter the Fist, and no one wants Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
I think I saw that, but I think I was really drunk at the time. I remember watching that at a party, but only barely.
It was so terrible. It was like the worst. It was like the worst elements of FDR American Badass that I didn't like. And there's a lot there I did like, but it's like all of the bad parts in their own movie.
Although there was one karate satire I saw in the last 10 years that was good. And I can't remember Kung Fu Hustle. That was pretty good.
That was one of Stephen Chow's films. I'm not a big fan of Kung Fu Hustle, but I do like Stephen Chow. I prefer his stuff. I prefer his stuff up to Shaolin Soccer.
Okay.
Which is his film before Kung Fu Hustle.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it. I think you did a plug for it, did you not?
For Shaolin Soccer, yes.
Okay, I thought so.
I believe I showed you a couple of clips from one or two of his films, like God of Cookery or
Yes, you did. That one I would be interested in seeing.
Forbidden City Cop.
Because apparently fudge, Iron Chef make fun of parody.
Yeah, the best parts of it are the
Iron
Iron Chef. It's like 15-20 minutes deals with Iron Chef, and then it's like this guy who is the Iron Chef. He gets completely destroyed, and he has to sort of make himself a bit get his confidence back to take his place again.
Didn't we watch that? I think that we might have watched that.
I think we watched a little bit of it. I was trying to find these good bits in it.
Okay, yeah, I remember you shifting through YouTube. Okay.
But yeah, I do like God of Cookery, even though big chunks of it aren't so great. But the bits that are great are really, really great.
I will review it first. No, I'm just kidding.
And there's also Forbidden City Cop, From Beijing with Love, Chinese Odyssey, which is his 2 films, but they're like his version of the Monkey King story, Journey to the West. I like old school Stephen Chow.
Old school, kicking it real with Stephen Chow.
Yeah, I'd seen Chow in soccer, and when I was in college in like a technical college, a community college type thing in Derry. And there was a guy from Hong Kong who was just happened to be in the class below me, and so next time he was visiting his relatives in Kowloon, he brought me back a bunch of DVDs, and I was like, holy shit, I got a lot of Stephen Chow.
Did they work on your region, or I guess you have the multi-region, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, multi-region is incredibly common in the UK. Most DVD players in the UK are multi-region.
That is so not common here.
Well, you'll have to deal with it, honey. It'll mean that your homemade DVDs will work fine over here.
Well, I mean, I can always play it on my computer, but I guess if and when we end up together, I'll just buy a multi-region player, and then there you go. And that will be the end of that.
Will it be the end? Will it?
Yes. It will be the end. I don't know. But yeah, I liked it, and that's how I feel about it.
The after I sort of tweeted about Pool Boy and how it was better than FDR, the guy who wrote both films and actually acted in both films sort of retweeted me and said, thank you very much, and followed me on Twitter.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he in FDR he played Jimmy Carter's uncle.
Oh, okay, the Southern guy.
Yeah,
all right.
He's got an eye patch in Pool Boy. He plays the director.
You seem to have really good luck with directors of the stuff that you reviewed. Not only not minding that you've done it, but didn't the one guy that's where your Nana View came from? He was like, "Hey, I have another movie coming out. Would you like to review that too?"
Yeah, and that was Stuart Urban. He enjoyed the Preaching to the Perverted review so much he sent me an advance copy of his next movie as long as I got a review out.
So you're like the opposite of Kyle, who seems to be like literally jumped every 5 minutes by directors.
I don't know. I think Kyle only was jumped once. I think Lupa was jumped twice.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm waiting for someone to get really pissy with a review I've done, but it's not happened yet.
The thing is that I think that even if the movie that you review is terrible, you still try to drum up business for it.
I do. It is one of the reasons I do the show. I'm constantly waiting for George Clark, the head of Yellow Fever Productions, to come after me. He did Battle of the Bone and Menacre.
Yeah, but didn't you're like always promoting him and his crew and stuff.
Well, yeah, I do in the reviews say that I want them to do well, because I do. But I'm just waiting for some sort of contact from him because he knows I exist.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were saying.
Because I was at a convention in Belfast, and his film production had a table set up, and apparently, well, I went and talked to them for a bit, and I was trying to find their new film, The Last Light, and stuff. And later on, I talked to a fan who was there at Geek and basically said, by the way, I went up to them and asked them if they'd heard of Diamante Hagan, and they were like, yes. About 10 people have come up and told us that. Yes, she's done reviews of our movies. Yes, ha ha ha. So, like, George Clark wasn't there, but other people who were involved were, and like, there is almost no way in hell that he doesn't know who I am. But he's not messaging me in any way. I don't know if that's a bad thing. If he hates me, it's a good thing.
For their movies.
Well, if he wanted me to be in the movie, I would say yes. But if he thinks I'm a terrible human being and he hates me because of the videos I've done, then that it's a good thing he's not contacted me. I don't know how they feel.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
Yeah.
But you know what time it is?
Timeout time?
No. Well, for you maybe. It's metal music time. Hooray, Nanowar. We love you and things and stuff.
It's the other Nanowar song.
I will
Because
tell you which one that is.
I handed over several songs and I don't know which one we're doing right now.
It is Stormlord of Power, Skulls.
Oh, generic power metal parody number 3.
Oh, Stormlord of Power. His cock is huge. Also Skulls. Because
one of their songs is called "Our Metal Is So Strong 'Cause Our Dick Is So Long."
Wow. There you go. But yeah, now.
Nanowar are still brilliant. I love Nanowar. I'd really like to do another video for them.
You should ask them.
Well, the problem is, whenever I did the last one, I had easy access to free/very cheap production people and better equipment than I have for the show. So it would look like shit if I went and did another one unless I had access to that sort of stuff.
Well, maybe soon.
So we'll see. If I get the chance, I'll go off and do it.
Do it.
But yeah, before we get into the next section, I want to tell you guys something hilarious. Now, Omega has not been informed about this.
Oh dear.
So she's going to have, get ready for your reaction to be stated quite loudly for everyone's amusement.
Okay.
Someone found in a book from the 16th century a drawing of how birds and cats could be used as suicide bombers.
For real or for parody?
For real.
Link me.
I shall link you, and you can use the image in the actual video here.
I can. Oh my god, that's crazy. That's awesome.
Suddenly, the 16th century Germany is a little bit more metal.
No, it's great. I'll put the image up, you guys, but it's a cat with it looks like a jetpack strapped to it.
Yeah, I don't see how how you could you could train a dog to do that, like they did do that, strap bombs to dogs in World War II. The Germans did, I believe. But the hilarious story is that they trained the dogs to connect the bottom side of tanks with food, so they would go underneath the tanks, and when they had the bomb on them, they would go under there, and the bomb would hit the tank, and it would blow up. Unfortunately, the Germans didn't have any Russian tanks to train them on, so they connected German tanks with food, and so they wiped out several of their own tanks.
Wah, wah, wah.
With this one, you can't really train cats to go somewhere they don't want to go. So, and a bird as well.
Well, a carrier pigeon.
Well, you could a carrier pigeon. It just seems a bit unpractical.
I just like how the cat is galloping. Like
Honey,
it's heraldry or something.
I want to see the movie version of this. The Rocketeer.
Oh, you're fired.
The Rocketeer.
That's terrible. Well, I'm glad that you've made the entire internet aware of this.
Well, on the website where I found that, the first comment is, and I quote, this is by Pierce R. Butler. Supposedly, Genghis Khan conquered a city by putting it under siege and demanding they pay him a ransom in cats and pigeons. When those were received, the Mongols set them and whatever they could strap on them on fire. The animals ran back to the city, through and over its defences, and started blazes that the conqueror was soon able to carve, and enough blazes that the conqueror was soon able to carve another notch in his spear shaft.
That sounds really dirty somehow.
Yes. Our ancestors were really fucked up when it comes to animals. You got the cats in clavier, which was the cat organ. You know the Monty Python sketch about the mouse organ?
Yeah, I think that's really funny.
That was real with cats.
Oh God.
I
thought it was just those wacky boys of Monty Python.
No, the idea was that you train a cat to yowl in a particular pitch, and then you stab their tails with these things whenever you hit a key. It never worked, because training someone to yowl in a particular pitch is incredibly impossible. But it was a real thing.
Wow, that's really horrible.
But I will find you a picture of it so you can put into the thing.
Okay. Okay, so now it's time for a part of the show that we call Giovanni's Trivia Time, featuring Giovanni Jones, my lobster. Hello everyone, how are you doing tonight? So Giovanni, what is your trivia fact for today? Well, did you know that the Kola Super Deep Borehole is actually the deepest hole that's ever been drilled on Earth? It reaches down 12,262 meters, which is probably a whole bunch of miles, too. But that was dug by actual people. It is the deepest hole on Earth that has been drilled, not like naturally occurring or anything. Thanks, Giovanni. So, this week, actually, we got you a very lovely cake. I went down to Giant, and I got you a cake. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure, honey. I mean, you've seen the cake. I sent you a picture. Right?
Yeah. It's
real cake. It's chocolate.
It's got blue on it.
Yeah. Thanks, but no thanks. I think this cake might be a lie. Or filled with explosives. Or perhaps some kind of stinging insect, possibly from Australia, so I'll see you guys later. Nice try.
Little does he know there was nothing wrong with the cake.
It's a real cake. Well, I'll eat the cake.
Yeah. Do you think we've got him trained enough that we don't actually need to provide anything nice for him these days? We don't even need to hurt him. We just need to say we've got something nice and he won't believe it?
I'm a little bit concerned about how eager you are to injure my sidekick.
Well, he's a sidekick. What else is he there for?
Or psychologically torture him.
What else is he there for? What I was amused by this cola thing is the fact that it's cola with a K. So that reminds me of like cola cubes, the red square confectionery in the UK, or Scottish cola, which is like a red soft drink you can get in Scotland. It's like All the best colas have K's.
Nuh-uh. Just saying.
Oh, really?
Nuh-uh. Alright, so now it's time for what happened at the store. If this is your first time listening, I've been working for about 9 years at a major chain bookstore, and a lot of stuff happens. A lot of stuff. And some of it is horrible and horrifying, and some of it is hilarious. And some of it is stupid. And some of it makes you question humanity, and this is going to be one of those stories. Now, this is a story from my first store, and I've always worked a full-time job in addition to working at the store, and usually I work on the weekends and at night. And so this was a Saturday. I had opened, so it was about 5 o'clock when I was leaving, and I go into the break room to get my stuff, and there is a little 5-year-old boy sitting in the manager's office and drinking one of the caffeine-free frappuccinos, and I was like, "Hi," and he goes, "Hi," and he just sits there, drinking his drink and kicking his feet, and there was someone else in the break room. I said, what is his deal? Where is he from?" And apparently he was found in the kids department, and when my manager asked him, "Is your mom here?" he said, "No." And she said, "Okay, well, is anyone here with you?" And he said, "No." And he said, "Where's your mom?" Or she said, "Where's your mom?" And he said, "She's at work." "Do you know where that is?" "No." So that was around 5 o'clock when I left. And actually the manager came in right as I was leaving, and I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Don't worry, we're gonna handle it." Well, the police finally found his mother at 9 that night, 4 hours later, still at work at Target, because we were in a complex that had Target on the far opposite end. So apparently she'd done this many times before, just dropped her child off, and he was about 5 or 6, and she went to work for 8, 10 hours and would come back and pick him up. Needless to say, she was banned from the store, and I think child services got involved. But that's not an isolated incident. At all 3 stores that I've worked at, we've had people that have just thought, "Oh, I'll just leave my kids here while I go off and shop at another store." Or a lot of booksellers who work at stores that are in the mall will have parents just drop off little teeny kids, then go off to the food court or something like that. And I don't know why they think that someone will not snatch their child.
Yeah.
Jesus, I mean, we're not babysitters. We have stuff to do. If I see a child alone, and they look like they're too young to be by themselves, I'll say, "Do you know where your mom or dad is? Are they here with you? Who's here with you?" And if they don't know, then that's a problem, Or "Okay, well, I'll call your mom to come over. What's her name?" "Her name is Mom." Okay. Because people are horrible. Amen.
People can be horrible. Oh,
No, people are horrible.
I don't think all people are horrible.
Okay, that's true.
And I don't think that all people are horrible in all situations. But I have been informed that my earlier information about the dog tank explosive thing, it was accurate. Unfortunately, it was the Russians trying it against the Germans and failing, not the other way around.
Oh, haha. Russia, we sure showed you.
So there's me correcting myself before the comments came through.
"You were wrong, Hagan. How could you do? Oh, Jesus Christ."
Blah, 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 blah.
But something... Huh?
Blah, blah, blah.
Stop that. But something that is causing a lot of fan rage recently, of course it won't be recently when this goes up, because this will go up 2 weeks from now, but is the fact that, unless I'm wrong, JJ Abrams has been signed by Disney to direct the next Star Wars movie.
It's true. I don't think it's causing much fan rage, though. People seem to be fully fine with it. Well, yeah, discussion, a lot of discussion. Honestly, I do not care for JJ Abrams. I'm just glad that he's apparently going to be kept away from Star Trek.
Psh. I liked the reboot. I thought it was okay.
Well, that's your problem.
I thought that the people involved did some good impersonations of the actors that they were supposed to be, especially the guy that played Young Bones. I thought of the entire cast, he nailed it. Also, I like Simon Pegg.
All they did was try to solidify in the mind of the audience that all Star Trek is the original series, and for a show that for a cinematic show, thing that lasted at that point 10 feature films, 5 live action series, and an animated series. That is incredibly horrible. It's
Well, but that all that they were concentrating on was the original series.
yeah,
I
and
don't think anyone's going to reboot Next Generation anytime soon. It was like 10, 20 years ago. Was it 20? Oh,
well,
Jesus.
no, I'm thinking all this is doing is backing up the idea that Star Trek is the classic series. So whenever they stop doing these new Star Trek films, they're just going to restart with Kirk again.
You don't know that, though.
I figure that's what's going to happen. It's going to be the safest bet. They're going to go for that. And the 40 years of stories, which although continuity wise don't always fit each other, and they're quite often terrible, all that's just wiped away.
Well, I mean, okay, if you want to look at it, I think the three major standout franchises were original series, Next Generation, and Deep Space Nine. Because I thought Enterprise was stupid, and I thought Voyager was crap. So as far as I'm concerned, they don't count.
Well, Voyager and Enterprise were terrible, but with the way that JJ Abrams apparently has set this up, with this other universe that came into existence whenever the ship came through at the very start, that means the only Star Trek series which is still canon is Enterprise.
I'm confused about. Well, wait, no, there was always the alternate universe.
Yeah, I know, but they said that the alternate, according to the continuity of the film, the alternate reality that they're in came into existence, broke away from the main reality at the point when the Narada came through the black hole looking thing at the start,
Well,
which is
fine, because in all three of this in I don't know about Deep Space Nine, but I know that in original and in Next Generation you had several instances of interaction with the mirror universe.
yeah. In Star Trek, there are alternate realities, but according to the film, this reality came into existence. They changed history, a la the Next Generation story, Yesterday's Enterprise.
Right.
Which means that the only Star Trek series which actually happened in the new continuity, which is going to be the continuity that we're going to see from now on, because there's no way in hell they're going back to the original. The only one that happened still is Star Trek Enterprise, because it was set.
It isn't technically in the past. Yeah, but that doesn't. But that you can always do stuff with you can always write to make it fit afterwards. That's when the alternate universe started. So who's to say which one the actual canon took place in? This could be going down the alternate path where that we've seen interface with. I think there was one with Kirk in the first season of the original series, where his bad double came through.
Yeah, we've seen the.
So there's a lot of things. I mean, that a good screenwriter or a good writer can easily take care of.
Yeah,
so I think you might be worrying over much.
Now that they have taken all of good Star Trek and they've essentially replaced it with this, and
you don't know that.
Well, this is set in the alternate reality. So,
yes, but the other stuff still you have as far as I'm concerned, you have the two realities running parallel to each other, and occasionally in various franchises and in various episodes they meet.
No, the universe that they're dealing with in the feature films right now never turned up in the TV series because it came into being whenever stuff post Nemesis happened. The mirror universe that you're talking about is not the one from the new films. The mirror universe from the new films was diverged, I believe, about the same time as Star Trek First Contact. It's stuff in the past.
Yeah, but if it's one of those things that like time moves linearly, if it happened at the technically quote unquote before the original series, I don't see why what happened afterwards is still not valid.
Because
maybe you're using TARDIS time, or maybe I'm just being especially dense.
No, it just means that right now Star Trek, it may be in extended universes and stuff, books and internet stuff. They're dealing with the original universe, but this one. From now on in films, they've got this alternate reality, and there is almost no chance that they're going to go back to the original reality.
You don't know that, though.
It's like the rebooting of James Bond in a similar way. Well, not quite a similar way, but after Daniel Craig's finished Bond, at some point they're going to reboot Bond again. rather than just continue making films, new Bonds and things. I don't know when they're going to do it, but at some point they will reboot again, and they're never going to go back to the original Bond timeline. It's the reason that they did this reboot in the first place was because they were convinced that the old timeline was old, tired, done, and there was nothing they could do with it. So that's why they're never going to go back to it.
But there's still a lot of bank in stuff that people still like. And here I'm considering, Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. I don't think that those will be allowed to go untouched, especially if there's money to be made. And so I think you might be being overly pessimistic too soon.
I disagree.
Although I did like how the Enterprise looked like it was produced by Apple.
Next Generation.
Not the Enterprise, the ship they were on.
Yeah, the new version of the Enterprise.
Yeah.
The
slide to unlock.
It did look like a Apple thing, but the Next Generation was never as iconic as original series.
No, it wasn't.
Next Generation,
I did enjoy it a lot.
The Next Generation movies didn't do very well critically or commercially. Deep Space Nine didn't even get a movie. It was critically, it is basic. Deep Space Nine is the best Star Trek show, but it never got much attention. Didn't even get the attention of Next Generation.
Quite honestly, and people will probably, shoot me bad fan mail about this, but if I was going to watch a space station show, it was going to be Babylon 5. Like, I like Deep Space Nine, but I started to lose interest right around, because it was basically, what monster of the week is going to come through the wormhole and interact with us because we're in a space station that doesn't go anywhere, or OMG Bajoran drama. And then you brought in the Delta Quadrant and, the Dominion War, and that was right around the time that I was like, I don't care about this anymore.
Well, whether you like it or Deep Space Nine or not, that's fine not liking it, but they're not going to make a film version of Deep Space Nine. They're not going to get as far as Deep Space Nine in the reboot. They're not going to get as far as Next Generation. Okay, maybe they'll try an alternate Next Generation once. But
that'd be pretty cool, but they better hurry up while all the cast is still alive.
No, I mean an alternate that showing the alternate reality with new actors.
No,
they are right now in the minds of the producers. The famous bit of Star Trek is classic. The most profitable bit is JJ Abrams, doing classic. So they're just going to go back to classic. They basically threw away 40 years of a fictional universe just to try and revitalize something that didn't need revitalized. All they needed to do, they could have done the exact same film, the exact same script, and all they would have had to do was make the characters new characters, and they could have had like the old Admiral guy, Captain Pike in this one. They could have made that Admiral Picard, and
okay.
That would have been fine. And their technology level is beyond the classic series anyway.
Yeah, that's true. I remember watching the original series in syndication, obviously, with my mom, like when I was a little teeny kid, like before my sister was born, so below the age of 5. And there was a countdown to something that was either going to explode or something was going to happen. And it was one of those clocks where the wheel turned and the number came down because the number was printed on the wheel. And that was the kind of desk clock that my dad had in the office room. And I said, Mom, why don't they have a digital clock? And she was like, what? And I'm like, they have the same clock as Dad. It's the future. Why don't they have a digital clock? And it was really difficult for her to try to explain to me that even though the show is about the future, it was filmed in the past before digital clocks existed. Yeah. I was like, no, but we have one on the microwave. Why? Why? It's the future. And she's like, never mind.
Yeah, it's even the technology they've got in the movie is way advanced from classic series. Why not? They could have just set this 20 years after Nemesis. There you go, and I wouldn't have had a problem.
But that's not. I mean, that's cool and everything, but that's an awfully big financial risk to try to get people to go see a movie about characters they don't already know and love. Like, a lot of people have been writing about this in the last few years, because I read all the entertainment magazines when I'm at lunch at the store. But, like, pretty much, America doesn't want to see it unless it's a home run. Well, unless we already know these people, we already know what's going to happen, or we can guess.
Well, with they sold it on the strength of it being Star Trek, and then and it being flashy, and they sold little bits of it on the names of the characters, but that's it. Most of it came from the trailers and the name Star Trek. If they'd given that sort of attention to Star Trek: The Next Generation's movies, giving them the budget and giving them a director who could, for instance, I don't know, remember the cast members' names. Fuck you, Stuart Baird. Um, he did Nemesis, by the way, and he kept calling LeVar Burton Laverne. Um,
Oh, that
the
sucks. I like LeVar Burton. He's really
he
nice.
was also convinced that Geordie LaForge was an alien.
He wasn't an alien. He was just blind, and
I
that's why.
know Stuart Baird knew shit about Star Trek.
Okay, that was a mistake then.
If they'd given that sort of attention and financing to Star Trek: The Next Generation movies, they could have done these sort of home run things. But no, they decided to give them half the budget, let them be made by a bunch of idiots, and they let them produce, go with, at best lackluster scripts. The
I
close.
have seen some of the Next Generation movies, but I don't remember which ones because it was that I know I saw First Contact because I went to see it with this friend of mine from high school. He was a really cool kid. I actually still have him on Facebook. That everyone's like, oh my gosh, he has a crush on you, and I was like, really? I'm like, yeah. Why else would a guy want to hang out with a girl? Obviously, he has a crush on you. So then one day he tells me, I have to tell you something, but I don't want you to freak out. I'm like, what is it? He's like, I have a crush on somebody. And I'm like, you do? On who? And he's like, the quarterback. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. A load off my shoulders. But yeah, we went on that. We had to go see First Contact. Everyone's like, you went on a date. I'm like, actually, not really.
Star Trek First Contact, not brilliant, but it's the closest thing Next Generation got to a decent film. The all most of my issues with the Star Trek 2009 movie, apart from the fact that it felt much like a Star Wars movie than a Star Trek movie, I admit most of it comes from sort of fanish, continuity heavy rage. Even down as far as whenever the ship came through the black hole at the start, they were all having like the insignia was that of the Enterprise and not because Starfleet the Star Trek symbol became the Enterprise became the Starfleet symbol, but sometime between Next Generation and the original series. And little things like the fact that Captain Pike is about 20 years too old because he was about 35 whenever he turned up in the Cage, the pilot of
Oh,
Star
that's right.
Trek, and he's about 50 in this, even though this is set before the Cage. It's little things like that which, for my own sanity, I decided that this was already an alternate reality, and they just spat out in this already existing alternate reality. But they fuck. I love it when there's long running fictional universes. It's it's not something you get to see very often in TV.
And you still have Doctor Who.
Barely. There's in Doctor Who, and then there's James Bond. They did the same thing to Bond. It's like just going to reboot it rather than get over the fact that we made a couple of bad ones, and rather than try to make a good one that fits in the same continuity, say tell the same story you wanted to tell, just fit it in that continuity. No, we're just going to reboot it, throw everything away, because it doesn't mean shit.
I'm sorry. I didn't know you felt this way.
It That's just the way I feel about it. The but yeah, onto Star Wars. Uh, since JJ Abrams' Star Trek felt much more like a Star Wars film than a Star Trek film, they can have him. I like Star Wars. I don't really give a shit about JJ Abrams. I would have much preferred if Matthew Vaughn had been chosen to direct it.
Who's he?
Um, he did X-Men First Class and Stardust.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I like Stardust. That was really good.
He was one of the guys in the running. If I hope it's good. Um,
I really hope it's good because I'm really counting on Disney to sweep in and save it. Like you have no idea. When I was little, from the age of about I want to say 4 to 6, I wanted to grow up to be a Jedi Knight. Like I had well, because when I was little, that was when all the three movies that we didn't they hadn't I don't know if they've been released on VHS yet, but we had like VHS copies that I think my dad made either off TV or off somewhere. And I had all of the Fisher Price, book and record thing when R2D2 squeaks, turn the page. You know, I was so into that when I was a little teeny kid, and I loved Star Wars. And the prequel movies were shit on toast. But I went and saw all three of them out of like this sense of obligation. I'm like, well, I
The
love Star Wars, but
yeah, the prequel movies, uh, they they started out in so fucking bad. They got slightly better with each one, but
yeah, but it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. And you know what? Like Lucas had a good. He was one of those people. Like he had like a good idea, and then everything is going to shit now. And I'm really hopeful that Disney will be the thing to pull this franchise and turn it around.
I really don't understand why Lucas sold Star Wars though.
Might be tired. He might just not. Or he maybe Disney made him an offer he couldn't refuse. Maybe they showed him some of the plans that they had and the kind of money and scope that they could produce, and he said, you know what, yeah, looks good to me. We don't know.
Oh, I I don't know. Given about how much money he was making, I would have thought that he would have wanted to hold on to it just just as a thing, but
Oh, I'm sure he's not crying the poor mouth now.
oh,
I'm sure
definitely
he was
not.
well compensated.
Oh, definitely not. And I know he gave a lot of the money he got to charity.
And I think he probably will still be involved, like, as a creative consultant kind of thing.
He's doing what Gene Roddenberry did in the Star Trek movies from 2 till 6, which is, hey, I have an opinion. That's nice. Go fuck off. You'll get here's a small check. We're gonna have your name in the credits.
I see.
Which in Star Trek's case, that worked out very well because Star Trek 2 is when Harv Bennett came in. Whichever he was, the guys, Star Trek 2 and then 3 and 4, are considered the Star Trek trilogy, and Wrath of Khan and Voyage Home are considered two of the best, two absolutely great science fiction movies of the 80s. I personally prefer Star Trek 3 because I'm silly, but that worked out very well for Star Trek. Maybe it'll work out very well for Star Wars. I'm not holding my breath though, because as far as I'm concerned, JJ Abrams is a hack.
Oh no, you didn't.
Yep.
Well, on that note, I think it's just about time to get out the dictionary, don't you?
Okay. You can look up the dictionary definition of the word whiny. Whiny, verb. Diamanda Hagan.
All right, so I'm holding the Oxford American Dictionary. What page, honey?
26.
All right, it's gonna be difficult because it's gotten dark and I haven't gotten up to turn on the light. One or two.
2. I was so horrified by your mentioning that it got dark that I broke part of a pen that I was holding.
I'm sorry.
And it was a Philadelphia Eagles pen.
Mm.
It's one of the clipper things to put it onto like a shirt or something.
No, you never can have it. So one or two.
2.
All right. 10, 12, 18, 20. 1 through 25.
24.
Hold on, I have to put it up close in the light of the computer. Antiseptic. Killing or preventing the growth of bacteria, etc., that cause things to become septic. Thoroughly clean and free from germs. Substance with an antiseptic effect.
Well, that will hopefully be fascinating.
Antiseptic! It's the cold and flu season. Are you prepared? We're going to talk about it next week on Lesbian Talk.
Antiseptic is my least favorite auntie. She's just a bit of a clean freak.
Oh, so anyway, I've been the Omega.
And you're continuing to be the Omega after this episode is finished. And I'm Amanda Hagan.
And we'll see you next week.
Say goodbye, Kippers.
He's sleeping on the couch.
Say goodbye, Giovanni.
I'm not talking to you still.
Do an impersonation of Kippers, Giovanni.
No. Anyway, we'll see y'all next week, everybody.
Which for us is in 2 weeks.